Well, joining me now is Florida Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart, who has been on the forefront of immigration reform for the last several years. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. And, you know, the senators, the Gang of Eight, have expressed vocally that they're worried that the House is going to tackle reform piece by piece. They say that's not the way to go with reform.
Look, the way to do it is the way we can pass it. And what we have to look for is a bill that makes sense, that is enforceable, that will not make the same mistakes of the '86 reform, that secures the border. You know, as far as whether it's one big bill or, you know, one bill, a strategy decision more than a policy decision.
Well, it is, but so what's the strategy that's going to get it passed?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, I think what you're going to see in the House is, in a very short while, is a bill introduced, a bipartisan bill that will fix what's broken. And look, you know that what's broken is frankly pretty extensive. The entire immigration system is broken, and it doesn't work for our national security interests, for our economic interests. So I think you're going to see a bill introduced that deals with most of the components. Whether that bill, though, is split up later in order to get it passed or not, again, that's something that I'm not as concerned as some, because I think what you do have in the House, from Speaker Boehner down, is a desire to fix an immigration system that's absolutely broken.
Right, and I think both sides, as you say, I mean, there's bipartisan support for trying to get some sort of reform passed. So, Congressman, then what stands the best chance? And we were talking about piece by piece, or maybe of getting passed.
I personally think that the way to do it is to have a bill that fixes, again, all of the different things that are broken, as long as it is not excessively long. I think that stands a better chance.
Okay, there are some of my colleagues. Can we get specific? What do you mean?
Well, in other words, you know, there's some people that say that you could maybe split up the different components, and that might get different coalitions of votes. I don't think that may be. I don't think that's really possible. If it is, I don't have a problem with it. I think that what stands a better chance is when you can show people that you have a bill that fixes an immigration system that's absolutely broken, common sense away, by the way, without putting in other things. You know, you can't fix every problem in an immigration bill, nor should you. But as long as we can show that it's specifically fixing what's broken, I think that stands a better chance than if you split it up. But again, that's really a strategy decision, and I'm not that concerned at this stage, because I think both the leadership in the House clearly wants to get something done.
Well, but shouldn't you be concerned? Because this can get sort of mired then in, you know, what gets included, what doesn't get included, what stays, you know, on the back seat and what doesn't. I mean, eventually that's all going to come to the forefront. So, Congressman, I mean, you know, this is why I can see the senators are saying, you know what, let's just deal with all of it at once.
And that may be the best way to do it. I kind of agree that that is probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
However, I don't should be. Look, that's not where we should draw the line in the sand. The line in the sand has to be: do we have a common sense bill that fixes what's broken, that helps our economy, that helps our national security, that deals with the folks that are here in a reasonable fashion? That's what we need to be focusing on. And again, I don't think that's entirely been solved yet either. But we're trying to have an immigration bill in the House that does that in a way that the American people will understand that we're serious about border security, and we're serious about fixing this problem that we know is broken.
All right, Congressman, thank you for joining me. Always great to have you here talking about immigration reform. Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida. And the euro climbing this morning. Senior markets correspondent Julie Hyman has the details in today's Forex report.